Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members, and welcome to this evening's Development Management Committee meeting. Is it me or is it Echo? Okay, come on. We're going to move straight to the agenda. So apologies for absence and substitutions. I believe we have one apology. Bob Edwards, Councillor Edwards.
Bob Davis.
Sorry, Bob Davis. Councillor Edwards is substituted. Any declarations of interest?
I'm a patient at Addison House, which is mentioned, but I might mention it.
Okay. And I have a non-pecuniary interest in it as a top-up board councillor. As
we would councillor. So am I.
Okay. Right, moving on. Minutes here on pages 3 and 4 of your agenda packs. Are they agreed?
Agreed.
Any matters arising? No. Thank you. No written questions. The procedure that we'll use tonight will be the planning officer will present a report. After that, comments will be taken from the public who must have registered with government support, a maximum of 3 for and a maximum of 3 against the application. Each speaker will get 3 minutes. Following that, comments from the applicant stroke agent, again with 3 minutes. Again, they should have registered with 24 hours notice. At that point, councillors will have questions and clarifications. We'll then move to debate and make a decision. So we only have one speaker, which is Freya Turton, will come to you in a while. Mark, over to you. Yours won't echo.
The application, even worse. The application seeks planning permission for the demolition of an existing building and the erection of a mixed-use development, including 163 residential units and 360 square metres of flexible commercial floor space. The application site is edged in red, other land within the applicant's ownership is in blue. The Harlow Centre is to the south with customer access to it again from West Walk, which is to the east of the site. The Westgate Highway runs to the north of the site and the service and delivery access to the Harlow Centre is to the west. A large-scale development on the red and blue land was approved by the committee in December 2017. The development consists of 4 blocks up to 15 stories in height, the ground floor layout of which is shown here, with the green and blue showing commercial floor space. A total of 447 residential units have been approved. This application, currently before the committee, seeks approval of an alternate scheme for Block D. The approved scheme can still be built out, and although the scale of the development is different, it's important to take into consideration that the approved scheme can be built. A detailed explanation of the differences between the schemes is in the report, but the main differences specifically for Block D are that an additional 76 residential units and 124 square metres less commercial floor space are proposed. The proposed ground floor units are shown here. The commercial units are shown in green. Compared to Block D as approved, there would only be 18 square metres less floor space at ground floor. In addition, the layout would provide for greater flexibility in the size and layout of each unit, and the units would be adjacent to the entrance to the Harlow Centre and therefore likely to be more attractive to prospective retailers and encourage movement north to south through the town centre. The building would have an L-shaped form, which you can see here. The building would be part 8 and part 12 stories, with the 12-storey element at the corner of the building, which would positively address West Square and West Walk. These slides show the proposed elevations. The consented scheme has been included to show the scale and design that's already been approved for the other blocks. These slides show the key northern and eastern elevations, so the ones facing West Square and West Walk, respectively. Hopefully on this slide you can see a bit more clearly some of the details in the elevations. There'd be a high proportion of brickwork detailing through the use of projecting brick and soldier courses, for example, which that slide's trying to show, and various new town characteristics are form part of the development, including the regular layouts and size of windows, for example. The majority of landscaping would be provided on the roofs of the building. Whilst these details are indicative and subject to a condition, which is the same as for the approved scheme, you can see that a variety of forms of open space, such as play space, could be provided. These photos are to the front of the site, and you can see the Westgate Highway in the bottom right photo. And these photos show the rear, including the service area to the Harlow Centre. 7 disabled spaces are proposed to the south of the new building, and these will be accessed via the gate, which you can see just there in the left-hand photo. And the conditions recommended to ensure that the operational details of that are appropriate. The Council's Environmental Health Officer has no concerns in terms of amenity or other issues subject to the recommended conditions. Cycle and disabled parking will be provided in accordance and in excess of the parking standards respectively, and a total of 69 parking spaces are proposed off-site. This equates to 32% of the standard parking space requirement, and the arrangement is similar to the approved application in terms of provision off-site, and the level of parking proposed is comparable with the recent Wych Elm House application, which was approved by the committee last month. The Council's viability advisors have confirmed that no contributions can be provided without the scheme becoming unviable, and this is consistent with the Council's own viability evidence in support of the local plan, which establishes that town centre development is likely to be quite challenging. Notwithstanding this, as set out within Committee Update 2, which was the one circulated earlier today, the applicant is offering to provide 5% of the units as affordable housing. It's considered that this offer should be accepted, but clearly as the scheme is unviable, it wouldn't be appropriate to require any contributions above this. A clawback mechanism would be imposed to enable the remainder of the affordable housing and other contributions to be provided if the scheme became sufficiently profitable in the future, and the clawback mechanism should include a contribution towards the sustainable transport corridors, which is set out in Committee Update 1, which is the update from yesterday. It's considered that, notwithstanding the proposed offer of affordable housing, the proposal is acceptable in principle and compatible with the character of the area. The proposal has clear benefits in providing a mixed-use development, which would increase activity and contribute to the regeneration of the town. The application is therefore recommended for approval, which is set out in Committee Update 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Freya, if you would like to come forward. Just turn the microphone on.
Okay. Thank you, members of the Chair, for considering our application today. I'm the planning agent speaking on behalf of the applicant. As stated, the site forms part of the Harlow Town Centre land to the north of the Harlow Centre that was granted planning permission last year. So whilst for the purpose of planning, this has been put forward to you as a standalone application and is acceptable in its own merit, from our own position, this is very much treating as phase 1 of part of a wider and greater regeneration project. When the consent scheme was considered by the committee previously, its critical importance to being catalytic to regeneration of Harlow Town Centre was recognised and welcomed. So we strongly believe that any further delay in kick-starting this regeneration opportunity should be avoided. The applicant, as the new landowner, is fully committed to delivering for Harlow its much-needed refreshed town centre retail and new homes that are purpose-built, high quality and, importantly, attainable for local people and particularly geared at those who are struggling to make it on the property ladder. The applicant's development quality has been recently recognised at the 2019 International Property Awards, where it won a 5-star rating for its mixed-use development in Luton, which is of a similar scale, housing product and calibre to what we're proposing here. So they are certainly the right developers for the job. The reason we're here today is that when progressing the detailed design of the consent, 2 things were identified. 1, that Block D made the most logical first phase, and that's the subject of this application. And two, there were a number of shortcomings in our predecessor's consent to Block D, including inefficient layouts, poorly situated retail units, one even fronting the service yard, no on-block car parking for Block D specifically, not even disabled parking. So the planning application in front of you helps address these shortcomings and results in high-quality buildings, providing appropriate level parking that improves what it can offer for the town centre, and most importantly, ensures its deliverability. Should the resolution be granted tonight, the applicant is set to commence construction next year and get the regeneration opportunity underway. The consented scheme, it was proven and accepted that the development could not viably provide affordable housing or contributions, and this is regrettably still the case for our revised Phase 1 application, as shown robustly in our viability assessment. However, without prejudice and as a sign of its commitment to delivering regeneration to Harlow Town Centre and its long-term investment for the whole scheme, the applicant is willing to offer at its own risk 5% of the proposed units as affordable housing in Phase 1. And this is a significant betterment to the consented scheme with zero affordable housing. If approval is given tonight for Phase 1, the applicant intends to waste no time in progressing an improved scheme for the remainder of the wider land interest, and work has already begun on this. In later phases, we are confident that the momentum created by Phase 1 will enable us to unlock greater benefits that were not achieved in the consented scheme, including more housing to meet need, a greater provision of affordable homes, potentially new workspace, and more viable and future-proof retail units. We are mindful of some of the schemes that come to committee recently in terms of affordable housing, but we would just like to say that to differentiate ourselves, this site represents a regional opportunity at the true heart of Harlow Town Centre that would have real regional value. And although it's not our intention to build it out, there is a live consent in place for the wider site that allows for no affordable contributions at this time. The site will also be coming forward as a first phase of a wider piece, so there's a real opportunity to improve on the zero affordable housing that is set in the consent scheme in later phases. We hope you see the opportunity here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Questions, members? Councillor Clark.
Originally, in the outline of the planning commission, they said there might be a creche and other social facilities, a potential medical centre, I think. Have any other, apart from the 5%, has that been included in the, I couldn't see it, in this particular planning application? And also, while I'm about it, have any contributions of a social nature, community nature been offered up? Thank you.
So in terms of contributions, they would be part of the clawback mechanism, which basically means if the development became sufficiently profitable in the future, those contributions would be payable. If that doesn't happen, then there would be no contributions other than the 5% that's now being offered for the affordable housing. In terms of what's proposed on the site, there is just use classes A1 to A5, which would include like a surgery. The scheme did originally propose an element of D2, which is, I think it's called assembly and leisure, but that could be a wide range of uses like, I think like bingo halls and gyms and things like that. There's a few examples in the report, but it was felt that because the applicant couldn't specify this time which of those uses within D2 would be forthcoming, some of them might be desirable, some of them might be potentially undesirable. So it's felt that it was better to concentrate on the A1 to A5 uses. I believe the surgery was in one of the other blocks for the consented scheme, but I'm not 100% on that.
Thanks, Jim. Mark, the off-site parking, is that a signed agreement, or is it just, you're prepared to park in the Harlow Centre or wherever?
So the previous scheme said it would be in the Harlow Centre multi-storey car park. The 106 gives provisions, though, for an equivalent parking arrangement to be done instead, and that would be at the discretion of the council, and that's in terms of the quality of the spaces, and obviously the quantity would be fixed because we were expecting, I think, 160 spaces for the previous scheme. So those principles would apply for this scheme, and it would be secured via a legal agreement again.
Councillor Hardware.
Thank you. Two questions. The first one is on the clawback. There's two clawback opportunities. A, when are those clawbacks to be evaluated? And B, if it's found there is monies to come, there's a great long list of items there. What kind of weighting is given to them, and how do you choose which ones the money goes to? That's my first question.
So the clawback would be on similar terms to the previous scheme. So I believe that was an early stage review within, if the development hadn't reached a certain stage, would possibly commence within 18 months of the grant of consent. And the late stage review, I believe, was 75% occupation of the units. I believe the money from the clawback or the affordable housing is apportioned equally amongst all of the contributions. That doesn't necessarily mean that that has to be the case. Now, if it was felt that there was some things were more essential, clearly they are important, but if some was privatised over others, then that would be a reasonable thing to do in terms of allocating that money.
Is that a discussion to have now or separately?
I think if councillors have any specific priorities, they should say so now. Or they could leave it to councillors, to officer discretion. If you give a flavour of what types of things you want.
Personally, I think equal is fine, but I mean others might have different views. So my second question relates to the 5% affordable. Is there any way that we can ensure that those 20% discounted properties are offered to Harlow residents in the first instance?
In the legal agreements, we can put a clause in there that could specify that it could have a local occupancy conditions, which could be people who live here or have relatives living here, or have employment here, but we would have to work out what we'd actually say. It would be via negotiations. Okay.
Do we have to agree to that, or is it
I think.
It's negotiation.
Negotiated by the legal agreement?
Part of the legal agreement, part of negotiation.
Yes, but I think if that's what the committee wanted, they would need to agree that's what they wanted to happen. But the detail will then be left to officers to deal with through the legal way.
Well, I'd like to propose that is included.
Should we do that at the end? Once we get to debate. Councillor Edwards.
Just a question to make sure I've understood it correctly. 20% equates to 8 affordable?
5%.
5% rather, equates to 8 affordable?
Yes.
Right.
In this
Right, and by affordable, that means 20% of
market
value.
discount.
So there's no social housing provision within this scheme. Thank you.
Any other questions? Debate. You want to start?
I'll go and think first. I've never come across one of these applications quite like this before. We've got a scheme that's unreliable from the word go, and it's part of 4 others, or 3 others, or a quarter of the site. If this is unviable, one assumes that the other 3 blocks are going to be unviable as well. And I'm concerned, although it's not something for the planning committee, for the health of the company who's trying to do this. We've been socked off with 5% discounted sales. which doesn't help our affordable housing list or social housing list. Parking is in a building adjacent or further down the road. I find it hard when companies making an application to build something knowing they're going to make a loss. I suppose there's always hope they might make some profit, but there's no contributions for anything at all, which I find even harder to swallow. You know, child provision, primary school, secondary school, libraries, healthcare. Now, all the residents in these flats, I say all the residents, either the children or the parents, will want some form of healthcare or schooling. So that means it's an onus on Harlow currently to provide those services free of charge, if you like, which are already crowded out anyway, schools, everything else. I'm only saying this is part of a discussion, not rather than it's part of the planning process. I find it hard to swallow. Perhaps I'll leave it at that before I say something.
Councillor Mallow.
I get really nervous and I keep on saying I agree with Councillor Garnett. It just sends shivers down my spine. But the situation we have here is planning permission has already been granted on all 4 blocks, and actually this is a better proposal than what was currently sitting on Block D, and at least it gives something which wasn't in there before. So on the greater of 2 evils, I will pick the one that gives us something than the one that gives us nothing, and that's why I'm minded to accept it, barring the condition I hope Councillor Hardware is about to put on it.
Councillor Clark.
Well, I find it very disappointing as well, and I'm only going to reiterate what Mike said. Either you produce something and it is viable or it isn't. It all depends on your assumptions, but I know we can't go through all this again. The whole question of viability and the lack of social housing, but nevertheless it is something that we should voice, I think. I'm pleased that there is 5%, even though it's extraordinarily modest in compared with 33 or 30% contribution. But also, there is no social contribution, nothing for the community, as Mike has said. I know that you have to take each on its planning application, on its merits, its own single merits. But we have granted permission for a whole number of other major developments, such as the Edinburgh Way, all of which, and also recently at Wych Elm, all of which are going to have people who are wanting to use Addison House as a medical centre, and they all obviously have to use the hospital. There's no contribution for schools, yet all those developments and others, the Rambles and so on, they're all going to be putting pressure on local schools in Little Pond and along First Avenue, for example. But there's no contribution whatsoever, nor is there a contribution towards the libraries. And I'm really also disappointed that Essex County Council have made no objection, although they've said what they expect to the contributions to be, but the contributions haven't been made, so I'm surprised they haven't actually objected to that. But all in all, I know we've given outline planning permission. The 5% sort of interests me marginally, but that's about all that we can get out of this, and I think that is disappointing.
Anybody else? Councillor Holden.
Thank you, Chair. Fact 1, the town centre north needs desperately to be built up. It's an absolute eyesore at the moment. We've got to do something about it. We've got a developer coming in that is going to do something about it. That's A. B, this is the way we are going consistently, as Jean and Mark have said, on applications we're getting in now. This is the way that it's moving all the time. That the 106 agreements we used to have, the luxury ones that did the community side of things, are now fading away, and that's not acceptable. We need to have contributions for the things that have been listed here tonight. But I can only hope that with the rest of the development, that is looked upon very favourably, and that action is then taken on that side of things, that the commitment, the list that we've got, is then put into place, so that we feel that at last someone's coming in and is going to do something towards helping out the town, the libraries, etc., etc., etc. Because this can't keep going on when we are paying a price in this town and others across the country for developers that are not putting in the things that we know we used to have as a normal course of events on planning in the past. We are in a different phase, but we do need to have this brought back in, and the town centre needs to be developed at that end, because it, as I said, it's an eyesore, but we have to have this partnership, this commitment, this trust in the town from developers coming in and being partners with us and having the vision to provide the things that we need here through those 106 agreements. So I hope this can be a turning point, because this development is nowhere near finished. This is phase one. Hopefully we are going to be listened to as a committee, as a council, and things are going to start to change from this development. We can only hope that. Yeah. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Harcourt. Do you want to move your...
Yes.
I can steal it if you want.
Obviously, 5% of affordable, if it's open to the open market, is nothing. It's not giving us any benefit whatsoever. So yes, I'd like to move that we include it within the legal agreement that is offered first to Harlow residents or people connected to Harlow.
Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Right, moving to the vote then. Are we done with the debate? I think we are.
No, just one quick.
Oh, no, sorry, Councillor Woods.
I think the important thing, I mean, we're all expressed reservations around here in terms of this particular scheme. I think the important thing to bear in mind is that we are working within very much a governmental framework. Framework that's affecting the way that we as a council, working with developers to redevelop the town. The planning framework is set at a governmental level. And the fact that we arrive at a situation whereby we have schemes that are going forward with minimal numbers of affordable homes and no social housing provision is firmly down to central government and the policies that central government is setting. And I think at some point we need to make certain that us, along with other local authorities, and hopefully on a cross-party basis, make those representations back to government to do things. It's extremely difficult under the current arrangements for local authorities to meet their housing requirements and social housing requirements.
To respond and put your one bit at rest, there are new regulations coming through about viability, and most, at all sites that are in the local plan, are going to be pre-viability tested, and once the local plan is adopted, there are a very limited number of viability arguments that developers can then come forward with subsequently. So this problem should start to disappear over the years that come, hopefully.
Thank you. Right, sorry, Councillor Gallen.
Sorry, don't really go down this road.
Oh.
You know, we have a local plan which is set by us. not set by the government, set by us. We can stick with that. We can refuse this because there's no affordable housing. That's perfectly within our jurisdiction. It may get appealed, but we can refuse it. So let's stop there.
Okay, let's stop there. Let's move to the vote. Let's move to the vote. So I think, let's not get into it. Bearing in mind where we are at the moment, let's not get into a political debate. Thank you very much. With where we are at the moment. So we're going to move to the vote. All those in favour of recommendations 1 to 18, which appear on pages 24 to 30 of your agenda papers, with informative 1, plus the recommendations which appear in supplementary agenda 2. Please, all those in favour.
Is that with the amendment?
Yes.
From Council?
And that is unanimously carried. Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on, references from other committees, there are none. Matters of urgent business, there are none. We close this meeting at 8 p.m. and thank you all for attending.